Hello, welcome to Three Crows Runes. My name is Jen. Let's do some rune readings. Today we're doing something very different. Today we are using the Witch's Runes, and we are using the Everyday Witch Oracle. And the reason I'm doing this is because we've just had Groundhog Day, and my motto is always delve deep and then delve deeper. So the neat thing about Groundhog Day is that Groundhog Day is only the recent version of what this day is. Now, one of the first deeper delves that I had of it was when I was in university. One of our professors told us that it was not just groundhogs, but all the hibernating animals that were relevant at this time, because hibernating animals were seen to be connected to the cycles of Earth, because they also would seem to die in the winter and then be reborn in spring. So watching them would show you sort of the state of the world. So if they woke up in the middle of winter, which was February 2nd or thereabouts, and they immediately went back in, then everybody would say, so there's going to be more winter, because the animal that came out noticed that the shadow, being reference to soul, that they still had one, which means they hadn't died properly, because if they had, then they would have left their shadow in the underworld, and so back they go to die properly with the world so that it all can be reborn in spring. But this became groundhogs because groundhogs are a lot less likely to maul you if they wake up in the middle of the winter hungry and see you there. But it goes deeper than that. There is an ancient goddess, and she's great. She's one of my favorites. She's the Cailleach, and she was ancient by the time the Celts got a hold of her, so nobody knows how far back she goes. But anyway, she is a crone goddess, and and the thing about her is that in addition to controlling the weather, she would wake up midwinter, or maybe not, but if she woke up midwinter, on February 2nd or thereabouts, and if she got up then and she would turn the sun on so she could gather more firewood, and then she'd go back to sleep, that would mean that she was getting ready for more winter, so there would be more winter to come. But if she didn't wake up, and if she just sort of kept sleeping, then we would know that spring was just around the corner, because she wouldn't be bothering to get up and turn the sun on in the middle of winter to collect firewood so she could go back to sleep. So that, of course, relating to the groundhogs, which wake up, and if they see their shadow, then they know they haven't died properly and they have to go back and leave their soul in the underworld. And if they wake up and they don't see their shadow, they go, okay, good, I have died, I'm just going to get a little bit more snooze, and they'd go back in, and we would have spring just around the corner, etc., etc. But the reason that the groundhogs and the bears and everything were doing that was because of the Cailleach. So it's awesome, all this neat, deep stuff. So all of that I told you to tell you this. What this is going to be about is, these readings are going to be about things that you need to finish before you can move forward. So all of these readings are going to be about something that you need to finish before you can move forward properly. So I've actually pulled 4 of these cards from the Everyday Witch Oracle. And I don't know what they are. The oracle itself is divided by element. So there's earth, air, fire, and water. I don't know if the cards under these elements are earth, air, fire, and water. I could have done that, but I didn't. So, but what I've done is to help you decide. I've put an earth stone, which is malachite, air stone, which is citrine, fire stone, which is carnelian, and water stone, which is lapis lazuli, on each of the cards. So card number 1 is going to have the sort of an earth reference, even if it's not an earth card. Likewise with card 2 is going to have an air reference, even if it's not air. Card 3 is going to have a fire reference, even if the card itself is not fire, and card number 4 is going to be referencing sort of a watery reference, even if it's not a water card. Confusing, I know. But anyway, so feel into the cards. 1 or more of these will have a message for you about something that you need to finish before you can move forward. Now, Before I get to the readings, and you can skip this if you want, I am going to be doing a little section on this video about the witches' runes. They are very different from other runes that I use, and I'll explain why in that section. But it's interesting, it's an important set of runes to have in my divination repertoire, and I'm happy to share them with you today, along with some lovely Everyday Witch Oracle cards, which are gorgeous because cats. So, well, they're gorgeous for lots of reasons, but you know, if you love kitties, you're going to love these cards. Anyway, so there it is. I'm going to put the timestamps in the description for all of this, and I will see you at the readings. Bye! Hello! Welcome to our quick rundown of the witches' runes. So these I made with Das Clay. They are, so let's get to it. So these are the witches' runes as generally accepted. There's 13 of them, so of course 13, very divine feminine reference number, what with the 13 cycles in the year and the 13 moons of the year. We have 13 runes. They are not technically runes in the same way that the Futharks are runes, in that they are not letters. You can't make words with these. These don't have sounds associated with them, so they're not used in writing. So they're not runes as far as what the runes are runes that are writing. They are using the word rune because one of the definitions of the word rune in the word origin of rune is mystery. As Jackson Crawford, the inimitable Jackson Crawford, points out, this is basically referencing the way that runes are a way to whisper. I love that. In the writing runes, I mean. Writing was a way to whisper words, and they are a mystery until you read them. So they're secrets, they're mysteries until you read them, and that unlocks the mystery for the writing kind of runes. So in that, one of the definitions of the word rune and one of the word origins of the word rune is mystery and secret. That's what's being applied to the witches' runes as runes. As far as their meanings go, I'm going to run through them. They have a lot in common with the Lenormand deck. If you've seen me work with the Lenormand deck, or if you know about the Lenormand deck, which is very, very cool, there's a lot of overlap. I believe there's a sun, moon, there's a birds. There is a ring. It doesn't have the same meaning, similar meaning. Of course, woman, man, crossroads. I'm trying to think. There's a star. There is a scythe in the Lenormand. So there's a lot of overlap. I do eventually plan on making Lenormand runes because the Lenormand deck is the closest to runes you can get in a deck as far as meanings, which is quite neat. They're sort of that bridge between rune and just in terms of the meanings of the stones and cards. So that's kind of neat. So I thought, well, they'd make really good runes. So eventually, stay tuned. I may have Lenormand runes to share with you that I'm going to plan on making at some point. Anyway, but because the Futharks are basically an alphabet, they're used to write with, and so as far as rune is defined that way, these are not that. But they're known as the witches' runes. We have sun, of course, very similar to Sovilo and also the sun card. I'm not going to go too deeply into this because I'm going to be doing readings with them, and I don't want to define them all at this point, but I'm just going to give you a quick overview. Moon, again, similar to the moon card in tarot. Flight or birds, this is like communication, and sometimes anxiousness, sometimes gossip, sometimes flight distances and things like that. We have rings, which has to do with bonds and associations, dynamics between groups, things like that. Romance or Trinity, this I sort of refer to as the Carmina Burana rune, where it's just like the mess of human relationships. Sometimes it's just basically the totality of human experience, which includes mess. We have woman, and this, of course, is everything from the divine feminine to just a woman that you know. Same with man. Man is everything from the divine masculine to a woman, to a man that you know, and everything in between, all the associations for those things. Harvest, very similar to Yira. It's abundance and all that good stuff. Very, very positive rune. Crossroads, very similar to Crossroads in the Lenormand, although it does have to do with there is a reference to Hecate as well when it's used in the witches' runes. We have waves. similar to clouds in the Lenormand, also similar to lagu in the Anglo-Saxon Futhark, where it's just like scary. That's not its entire meaning, it's sort of things are clouded. Star, very similar in the Tarot and the Lenormand. We have the Scythe, similar to the Lenormand. It's just basically a sudden change that you may need to mourn about. And also similar to the Death card, although a little more brutal. And the Eye, which is sort of unique to the Witch's Runes, which is basically observing and also being seen. So it's an exciting little rune set, and I'm excited to use it with you. And I look forward to the readings. So there we go. Let's go to the readings. Bye. Hello to all of you who chose card number 1 and the Earth referenced card. Let me move the malachite over here. I love that on the backs of these cards, in addition to these lovely kitties, we have basically Earth, Air, Fire, and Water represented. So let's turn this card, see the basic, the foundation of what it is that you are needing to work on to complete in order to move forward. So sort of to make sure that you've really completed a thing before you can move forward from it. So let's turn this, and we have tears of joy and sadness. So there may be a change. Now this is a water card, obviously, but it also does have to do with your grounding in the world. So there's your earth element. There may be something major that is a change in your life right now that you have mixed emotions for, but you're almost equally joyful about it as you are mourning it. So you're basically, the thing that you're moving forward to, it looks like it's a major change, moving forward from, it looks like it's a major change in your life, and you're going to miss things that were, but you are also joyful in moving forward to embrace what is and what is coming. So let's get some Witch's Runes down and check this out, see what we can see about it. So I'm going to lay down the entire reading. The other thing, and I didn't even mention this, I'm going to have to mention this in every reading now. The Witch's Runes don't have reversals. I haven't seen anything about reversals when I was researching these, so I'm not going to do reversals for them. Eventually, because I am terribly tempted to do so, I probably will start using reversals for them. But at present, I'm not planning on using reversals today for the Witch's Runes. So let's get going on this. So your central issue for this reading, in this moment where you're thinking about the thing that you have to complete before you can move forward, we have Sovilo, well, not Sovilo, I'm going to call all of these by rune names. We have the Sun. The Sun has to do with all the solar stuff. It's, it's the illumination, the vanquisher of darkness. It's like a new day for you. You're considering, it actually does look like it has a reversal there, and I'm not doing reversals. There's a new day starting for you, and you're focused on this new day that is starting. However, you've just come through a night. So it's like you've completed the day before, and you're focusing on the new day. We have the moon. It was mysterious. It was much more yin before, and now you're starting to start a new day with more yang, and it's more like taking action and moving forward. So you're going to be taking more action in this new day that you're starting than you were before. It's almost like you were asleep, not sleeping, but more, it was your dreaming phase, and now you're moving into the action phase. What is going to help you weirdly is, I'm going to read this a couple ways. We have the Romance Rune, also known as the Trinity Rune, just sort of focusing on the completion of the totality of human experience, basically, mess and all. Like this is not simple. This is both feelings at once, and so you're just sort of what's going to help is incorporating these. You're going to incorporate both of these feelings at the same time, and any other weird feelings that are popping up as well. Just sort of to incorporate that as part of your human experience, and sort of to love it all, to allow it all. What is beyond that is sort of an acceptance of what is still currently mysterious, an acceptance of what you won't know yet. We have waves as well. So this is waves, often seen as quite a negative rune, but in this position on the reading, I'm seeing this more as we embrace this, we will be able to embrace this. It's like Rilke says, live the questions now. Eventually you'll be able to live your way, hopefully, into the answer. I've mulled that quote completely, but that's okay. So basically, once you accept the totality of what you're experiencing, you will also be able to accept what you don't quite understand yet, and that's what's going to help you move forward into this new day that you're looking at and wanting to move forward into. What isn't going to help is you're a bit worried about being observed with this. Like, this is something that you're sort of, either it's you turning a critical eye on this on yourself, or you're worried about being seen going through this. And as well, you're worried that people are going to judge you for what you're bringing through, like what you're getting out of this. You're sort of, there's sort of like, yeah, but what did you get out of this? Like, you're going through all this mess. It's sort of, you're self-critical about this, and you're also worried about what other people will think when they see you going through this, and they're going to you're worried about them judging you for what you haven't seemed to bring through, even though what you're bringing through is your experience. So this is the eye, observation, as well as being seen. And the harvest rune, normally, once again, an extremely positive rune in an extremely negative spot in my readings. So seeing this more as, being judged for your accomplishment or lack thereof, and also worries about being judged for that, and also worries about being seen that, and also giving yourself a critical eye, which isn't going to help you. If that starts to be the case, bring yourself back up to know, this is an experience that I am embracing and taking in as a whole thing, as like the completion of it, not completion, what am I saying? As the totality, and this is part of your life, and this is something where you're incorporating this and embracing this, and this is very good to know all sides of it. What this is going to lead you to is, we have the birds, the flight. So moving forward swiftly into this new day, as well as keeping in communication, like having communication, being sort of held in place. I'm seeing like a net of the communication that's sort of keeping you upright in the air, sort of like, how the birds fly and they're all in communication with each other as they fly in formation. This is sort of what I'm seeing, is like, as you move forward, there are going to be connections that you have communicatively that are going to keep you in the air moving forward, and you're going to be able to sort of be touching base with that, and everybody's going to keep each other aloft. What is going to help you is letting yourself be guided during that time, and having hope. So we have the star rune at this point, and definitely, have hope. That's, keep your hope up, but also letting yourself be guided. So this probably ties in with the formation of birds that is going forward with you in it, where you're in communication with people, and you are, keeping each other's spirits up, and this is going to help to guide you, and also your own guidance, your own inner guidance. There's no reversals in this also, as usual. So I'm going to say inner as well as outer guidance. Letting yourself be guided is going to help you the most, because this is a new day. What isn't going to help is, we have the woman rune. Again, positive rune, but in a negative spot. It is, a lot of the things I read was like, oh, this is negative in terms of that it's yin. So what I'm seeing this more as far as reading this in a negative spot, is this is not the time to just let things happen. You are moving forward, you are connecting with other people, and you're letting yourself be guided, but you're taking the action. So there is a certain guidance in play, there is a hope. Even if you're letting your hope guide you, this is still moving forward based on that leading you. But you're not being totally yin. This is not like letting things come to you. You are moving forward and being guided through that. So it's a bit subtle, but it's basically that. You're sort of in formation with your connections and moving forward. And what this is going to bring you to is, we have the crossroads rune, which is decisions, choices. You're going to find yourself looking at a choice moving forward. So I'm seeing this sort of like the threshold of like the Thurisaz rune, where this is all the part where you haven't moved forward yet. This is the stuff you have to take care of before you move forward, which is the point of the reading. And so by the end of it, you will have reached that point. You'll have reached that point where you're standing at the threshold and you are going to be ready to move forward. So that, card number 1, people who chose the Earth-related question, is your reading about what needs to be taken care of and before you can move forward and what you're working on. So that will be that. So good luck with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello, card number 2, people who chose the air-related question card. So I'm going to move the citrine over. Have that over here. Oh, look at the malachite is shifted back into its spot. So let's do that. That's actually fun. As I do this, I'll put these into their directional spots, because this is south, where the malachite sits. This is east, where the sorry, this is north, where the malachite sits. Green for north, and this is east, because where I'm facing is east. And at the end of this reading, this is going to go up here for the next reading, so that's kind of cool. So anyway, citrine's going to sit over here for air. As you notice on these lovely cards, as well as kitties, we have the 4 elements: earth, air, fire, and water. So let's turn this and see. Once again, this may not be an air-related card, but it's going to be there's going to be a basis of an air question that has to do with the things that you feel that you need to complete before you can move forward. So let's turn this. So we have sun and stars. I don't know which element this is supposed to be, so that's okay. That's cool. We're going to relate it to air, which has to do with communication and manifestation and healing and things like that. So very exciting. Sun and stars, you're really wanting to get in tune with basically your guidance, as well as like just your connection with the universe, which is very, very it's a way to ground. Like, you're grounding by connecting with all of nature, and all of nature includes the sun and stars and all of that. So you're just sort of looking above. Of course, sun is source energy, stars is guidance, moon is mysteries, so that's all that good stuff, sort of the dreams and all of that. So good, some good balance, just becoming aware of that. So that's sort of where you're at in terms of what you're seeking, as far as getting some completion on what you're working on in order to move forward. So let's get some witches runes on this. Now, I forgot to say this in my little bit about the witches runes, so I'm going to say this now. The witches runes do not have reversals. When I was researching them, there was no mention of reversals on these, so I'm not going to use them with reversals. However, I am a rune reader, and I am very tempted to read these with reversals, so eventually I will probably read the witches runes with reversals. However, today, no. So I'm going to lay down the entire reading first, and then we're going to go from there. Again, it's like, this is complicity. I want to read that reversed, but I can't. And it's not Tiva's either. It's just the man rune. The man rune. Which one is this? Which one wants to come out for that final rune? Ah, that one. Okay, cool. Not reversed. Okay, so your central issue for this reading, card number 2, people, is the star. And the star, of course, has to do with hope and guidance. So you're definitely looking to all of nature, including the sun and stars, for your guidance right now as you move forward, or as you try to complete things so that you feel you can move forward. Leading up to this, and probably the reason that you are searching for guidance at this point, is things are a bit muddled. There may have been like a surge of emotion. There may be like just entangled messes of things that sort of like made things get all wavy. This is the waves rune. It has to do with, things are not going to be clear yet. So this is why you've basically turned to looking for clarity, looking for completion, and things just, you're sort of waiting for the water to settle so you can see clearly again. Water being, emotion and all of that kind of thing, or just like situations that got riled up. What is going to help you is we have the flight, which is communication. It's birds, so it's communication. It's also, it does speak of travel. I don't see much in the way of travel, really, although unless you want to go and walk outside in nature. It's cold where I am, so I recommend if you're where I am that you bundle up at least first. But anyway, we are basically just have communication happening, be in communication with the people that you trust and care about. That's going to help you work towards that. And beyond that, there will be light. Light will shine through. We have the sun. Through communication, the things will become illuminated. So you'll be able to see what you need to see as you search for guidance and as you communicate. And this is, again, not reversals, so I'm going to include inner communication with your NOR guides, that kind of thing. And then this is basically going to lead you to the illumination that you're looking for as I knock my runes around. What isn't going to help you is we have the woman rune, and then underneath that the romance or trinity rune. So this is sort of going to be about letting things happen to you instead of taking the reins, and you're looking for guidance, but you're not looking for the guidance to carry you. You're looking for the guidance to direct where your next step is going, which is very different. This is again, it's the woman rune, so it's everything from the divine feminine to a woman that you know. However, what I'm seeing this as is just letting things happen to you instead, like to be very, very yin, to the point of you are not taking any action, where you are just letting things happen to you, which can open you up to a lot of entanglement and mess, which is what the romance rune is speaking of down here. As I said in my introduction to these runes, it's sort of the Karmina Burana rune. It's like everything is, the overview is like, all grand, but then when you get down into the nitty gritty of it, it's just entanglement and mess. So it's like people just can take advantage when they want to, and it's just a mess. So that's basically recommending, let's not do that. Don't just let things happen to you because you're still suffering from the effect of the waves where things were not clear. Bring yourself back up to be in communication with the people that you care about and trust, and let the illumination come through, and that's going to help guide you to where you're going to know where to step. Your next step this is where we're actually going to pick up and become very yang moving forward. So this is, once again, whether you identify as male or female or other, whether you identify as male or female or non-binary, we are going to, this is basically referencing yin or yang, which is like not non-action or action, receiving or putting forth is basically the references here. So your next step on this path is you are going to be stepping forward. You're going to be taking, steps forward. You're going to become very yang. What is going to help you is embrace the choices. You have choices in front of you at this point. You're going to be, we have the crossroads rune, so you're going to be making decisions at this point. What isn't going to help is you are worried that once you make one decision, all other options are going to get sliced away and you won't have access to them ever again. That is not necessarily the case. Sometimes it might be, but don't let that hold you back from making the decision that's going to allow you to move forward. That's key. This is the scythe, rapid change, things that sever, things that change that you need to mourn something out of. And it's in the lower line, but I'm sort of seeing this more as worries about it. But this could hold you back, and this is definitely what's going to help you, is just facing your choices and to make a choice. You're going to make a choice of how you're going to move forward. And the way you're moving forward is really interesting because we have the moon rune. And the moon rune has to do with pursuing mysteries. It's like dreams and the cooler aspect of things. It's not as heated as sort of the deeper mysteries of things, which is what you started here. This is like really your focus, sort of getting in tune with the more mystical elements of things. So that's exciting, moving forward into the new things that you're planning to do, that you're going to sort of wrap all this up. And I think this mostly gets wrapped up with this decision that you make, so that you can then move forward into a more mystical, even if it's not mystical, it's a cooler, more, not dreamlike. What am I saying here? I'm trying to find a way to say this where it's not, in case you're not feeling like you want to follow a mystic path. Of course you're here, so who knows? But it's going to be a more cool, less, you're sort of more concerned with things that are intangible and less of the day kind of thing as you move forward, bringing that element into your life that maybe wasn't there before. So that, card number 2, people who chose the air-related question, is your reading. I wish you good luck with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye! Hello, card number 3, people, those of you who chose the fire-related card question. So I'm going to start by moving, this very slippery carnelian over to this side. Every time, like you can tell I've read the earth and air ones because they are now in place on the directional part of the reading area. This is our north at this point, and this is east at this point. So I've got the earth and air in place. As you can see on the beautiful back of this card, in addition to the kitties, we have a representation of earth, air, fire, and water. So it's all the elements there. Let's turn the card and see what the foundation is for this question, which may not be a fire-related card, but it's going to have a fire element. So things that have to do with will, energy, moving forward, things like that. So let's turn the card and see, and it is fire! So we've matched on one card and stone, so that's exciting. Meditation for creativity. So this is basically, there is something very creative that you are going to be working on in your life, that you are currently working on, that you're hoping to wrap things up so you can move forward and be creative. If not newly creative, then creative in a new project or in a new direction, which is exciting. And this is why you're wrapping things up now. Look, there's even a doggy in this one. Like, how cool is that? Representation. So, let's get some witches' runes out and see what the messages that they have to add. Oops. I have to say this in every reading today because I didn't say this in my talk about the witches' runes, and that is that the witches' runes do not have reversals, at least not when I was studying them. I will eventually probably be reading these with reversals because I'm a rune reader and I like reversals and it drives me crazy if I can't do that on the runes. However, today we're not using reversals, so that's just something that I've decided. So what's our final rune in the spread? We have, nice, very good. I mean, it might not be, but I'm going to read it nice because I'm me. Okay, so your central issue here right now with where you're at now in terms of having something that you need to complete before you can move forward is we have the waves rune. Now the waves rune has to do with, water when it gets all stirred up and riled up and you can't see through it anymore. That's what that is. So something has gotten you worked up or has gotten the situation worked up and riled up and things are not clear at the moment. You have to wait before the clarity comes back. So right now where you're at, things are a bit like frothy. What led up to this is I'm going to say a lot of forced will happening. Will actually also ties in with the fire element. So it's the man rune, which is not necessarily, I mean, there's a guy in the picture, but it's again, this doesn't have to do with gender identity. This has to do with yang or yin. So it could actually, because these runes do have sometimes to do, like the Lenormand cards, they do sometimes refer to a man in your life. So for some of you, it may have been a man in your life that caused this upheaval. However, reading it as not necessarily having been an actual person that caused this, it's just like pushing your will, like trying to force something, and then things got all choppy and unclear. Because this also has to do with yin and driving forward and active will, things like that. So right now where you're at in this situation where you're trying to wrap things up, we have the waves. So things will settle, but it's not going to be clear just yet. What is going to help you with that? We have the star. The star has to do with hope and also guidance. So your hope will carry you forward, but also you are going to let yourself be guided. Again, these are not reversed, so there's no reversals to be read today of these. So it may be an inner guidance, it may be an outer guidance, but something that you trust that you're going to allow yourself to be guided by is going to help carry you past this. It could just be patience. just like let yourself be guided by the patience that's going to carry you forward until the waves smooth out. What the guidance will allow, like what letting yourself be guided will allow, is for the light to come through and for the clarity to help make this be still more. Clarity will start to come through. We have the sun. The sun will shine through, things will become illuminated, and this will help the waves stop being wavy. What won't help is, so we have the woman rune and we also have crossroads. So you may be feeling pressured to make a choice at this point when you are not feeling like that's a thing that you want to do. Because I think you're still coming off of the effects of this forced will that you've just been through. And you're sort of feeling like you were put in a position where you were made to be very, very yin, where you were made to receive, and you were made to not be allowed to take action. Or maybe you feel stressed because you're not able to take the action. You're still in a very yin stage where you need to be still receiving, but you want to drive forward. And again, underneath that, we have the crossroads, which is a choice or a decision. This is sort of, I see this more as pressure to make a choice moving forward. But if this all came from like forcing something, if you're trying to force art, that's just gonna wreck it. Like you can't rush these things. So this sort of probably was what caused this to get all choppy. You're worried that if you let this settle, then you're going to feel weaker as a creator than you would otherwise. But like it's good to do that. Like you need to let things happen as they will. So you're going to still feel very pressured because of this moment of forced will. You're going to feel pressured, and you're going to sort of feel, you're going to be like putting yourself down. That's like, no, I want to be doing, I want to be acting, when in fact you need to be waiting and letting the waves settle so that you can see clearly. And so whatever you need to allow yourself to be guided through towards that point and to allow the sun to shine on you again, that's what you need to be doing at this point to help you get through this, so you can move forward. And lo and behold, your next step, as soon as you have allowed this to settle, you will see that you actually have quite a lot of abundance and fruits of your labor that are already there. So, like, it's like if you had forced a chapter that you were writing, and you just looked at it and it was like, bah, and you threw it, and you were like, this isn't working because I forced it and now I've ruined it. Once the waves settle, you will pick it up again and go, hey, you know what? It only needs like a little bit of work now. Like it's done, basically. It's like I have the fruits of my labor now, so hooray. So things aren't as bad as you thought they were. Things are actually really, really, really good. The Harvest rune is one of the most positive runes in the set. So things are good. Like once you let the waves settle, you'll see that things are really a lot better and a lot closer to completion than you thought they were, and that you even worried that they wouldn't be. Here they are. What is going to help you is we have the Rings rune. This has to do with bonds and connections and sort of unbreakable connections, associating dynamics of things like friend groups, systems, groups, associations, basically things that relate to other things. And so I'm going to read this a couple of ways. First of all, those of your circles that support you are going to help you. Like you're going to be able to go to the people that are your circles, and they will give you support in this moment. They're going to be like, yeah, go, and maybe encourage you in things. At the same time, remembering to bring in the things that relate to other things that harmonize with other things while you're working on this, and that's going to help you as well. What isn't going to help is that too critical eye, your inner critic is still going to be like, yeah, but, and sort of don't let that put you down too much. Like, don't be too worried about, because it's not completed yet. It is almost completed. It's like there's a lot that is completed, but you still choose when this is going to get released. So sort of tell your inner critic that, yeah, well, my friends that I trust thought it was good and they're encouraging me and I trust them, and things like that. And also just like, don't worry about it. Like, so far the only people you're letting see it are the people that you trust. By the time you release it, it's going to be fine. So then your next step leading to it is you're going to sever. We have this, the scythe. It's not always a negative rune. It's, in this case, you're basically, all right, done. You're tearing the paper off the drawing pad, and you're like, there we go. We're done. We're done with it. You've wrapped it up. You can move forward now. Is what I'm seeing the scythe as in this case. It's like, you're done. So this is basically what you're working on. You're finishing this up before you can move forward to other projects or whatever it is. If it's not like artistic creation, it's something else that you're putting together in your life. And once you've let the things settle and seen that it actually is pretty much completed and just needs a little bit more polish, you can then end it and you're done. You're like, okay, did it, done. We can move forward now. Onto new things. So that card number 3 people who chose the fire-related card, well, fire-related question, which actually had a fire-related card, which was very nice, is your reading. And I wish you good luck with that. And I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello, card number 4 people, those of you who chose the lapis lazuli water-related question. I'm going to move the lapis lazuli over here. And in fact, I'm going to move the lapis lazuli over here so it's in the right spot. As I've done the readings, I've moved the stone to its place directionally. So we have the earth, the green on the earth side, which is north. We have the citrine on the air side, which is east. We have the carnelian on the south side, which is south, fire side. And we have now the lapis lazuli, which is blue, on the on the west side, which is west and water. So water card, we have on the back of this lovely witches everyday witch oracle, we have all the elements represented. We have earth, air, fire, and water, as well as kitties. I'm going to turn this over and get the basis, sort of the foundation of this question, and it is meditation for clarity. So another lovely. We've had 2 out of the 4 questions, actually, the stone matched the element of the card. So that was really exciting. The last one, fire matched fire. In this case, water matches water. This is a water card. So meditation for clarity. So you're going to want to sit with perhaps some water or whatever brings you clarity, to let your emotions smooth out, to let your intuition be stimulated, and just try to get that clarity coming in. So let's get some runes down, some witches runes for this reading. Now, something that I forgot to say in my talk in the second part of this video about the witches runes is that these do not have reversals. I am very tempted to read reversals for these, and eventually I probably will, because it's just what I like to do. But at present I'm not reading reversals on these. So that's, however tempted I may be, if they go down in reverse. It's like, ah. So there's the scythe. So I'm just going to lay down the entire reading first, and we're going to go from there. See, like almost all of these are going down in reverse for me, but that's okay. I'm going to read them not in reverse, and we're all good. Interesting ending. I have to say, this is a very interesting ending, so we'll have to see this reading and see how we arrive at that. Okay, so actually I can see how this is going to work out. So very, very nice. Let me find a nice way to put the star. Okay, yes, I know. So your central issue right now is you are looking for guidance. You have this thing that you want to wrap up before you move forward. But right now you're sort of looking for guidance, you're letting yourself be guided, you have a lot of hope. We have the star rune, and this is going to be hope and letting yourself be guided. So this is why you're doing this meditation for clarity. Leading up, you've tried to go at it very yang. We have the man rune. Once again, none of this has to do with gender identity. This has to do with yin and yang sort of thing. This is like divine masculine, divine feminine. And we have both of them on here on this particular spread. But it's, as far as yang goes, you've been driving forward, you've been trying to, get to things by pushing, and that's not been helping. So now you are sort of pulling back, and you're sort of connecting with, let myself be guided. So what's going to help you is we have the Crossroads rune. And so if you are inclined to do so, this is where you would want to sort of connect with Ekate, maybe, but it's like a choice. It's you're presented with a choice. You're going to sort of look at this and see your options at this liminal space between your choices. You're sort of at a crossroads at this point, and sort of just like to acknowledge that. What that's going to let you do is to see how things relate to each other and see how things are harmonizing. Once you let yourself inhabit this liminal space, this sort of between space at the crossroads where all of the options are open in front of you, as you let yourself inhabit that, you're going to start to become aware of the harmonies between things, the harmonic relationships between things that are interconnected. So we have the rings, which is the interconnection and the unbreakable bonds of things and the way things resonate and harmonize, over the Crossroads rune, which is the liminal space you're currently inhabiting, which is between everywhere. So you're taking this moment to meditate in this spot to get some clarity on your best option moving forward. What doesn't help you is I'm gonna read this. I might read this a couple ways. I don't know if I actually have to, so we're going to start. So what isn't going to help you? We have the Harvest rune and the Scythe rune. So the Harvest rune is sort of like pressure to have results, which is what you're sort of carrying over from what got you to this point where you were just like push, push, push. You're still feeling pressured to have results to show for this, but you know that at this point you have to be still and sort of let things, let the clarity happen, sort of to be still in this place and let the clarity come in and let the resonances and the relationships of things become clear to you. The other thing that is worrying for you is you just want to get it over with. Like, again, these are still a result from this. Now, because this is the man rune and the woman rune, because this is the man rune, this may also have to do with a person, like a man in your life, or someone who identifies as male in your life. But more, I'm just going to read this as, you were pushing really hard and that's not been getting you anywhere and you're at an impasse. This is why you're hoping to get guided and you're sitting at this liminal spot on the crossroads, in this between place to get a sense of what things are for clarity so you can move forward. But a part of you is still, habit. You still feel like, go, 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 push, push, push. We need results. And part of it is just like to get it over with. And you know that you need to take care of this so you can move forward. So you can't move forward until you take care of this. This is still going to be a pressure in your mind. So Harvest and also the Scythe, which is a sudden ending of something. Bring yourself back up to where, it's like, I have to do this so that I can do this. And the sooner I can do this, then the sooner I can do this, so shut up. So telling that to just chill. So what this is going to lead you to is, once you've done this, once you've sat there with all the choices without judging or taking any steps, and becoming aware of the relationships of things, you will become more aware of the totality of what you're dealing with. We have the Romance rune, otherwise known as the Trinity rune. It speaks of the totality of human experience. I do refer to this personally as the Carmina Burana rune, because it's sort of like, the overview is, okay, grandness of life. However, once you get into it, it can be messy. There's a lot of entanglements and a lot of, clashes and, people like getting connected for the wrong reasons and just hurting each other and blah. But you're going to be more aware of that than you were before. From sitting here, you're going to have a very non-judgmental awareness of that when you move forward, and you're going to be clearer and able to take the better steps. And it's going to become very much more natural for you. What's going to help you is to sort of take the more yin path. We have the woman rune here. To take the more yin path as far as it's like the path of water, where it's not really the path of it is the path of least resistance, but not in a lazy way. It's like martial arts, where you're sort of just letting yourself flow between what would be conflict otherwise, and you're just basically going to allow yourself to flow. I mean, this is all tying in with the water and the water and the water. So you can easily avoid all of this now that you're aware of it, by just sort of letting yourself flow between it and not getting caught up in it. What isn't going to help is there's always that worry about being scrutinized, and that would catch you up. Like that, if you let that be a deterrent to you, is that somebody's going to see me, that you're going to be criticized or scrutinized. Sorry, we have the eye rune. That could catch you up on the spokes of this, which is sometimes quite nasty and messy. So again, not to worry about that. Just reflect what they want to see and flow through. Whatever you need to do to get past it, just let yourself flow. When you're aware of all this, you're just going to basically be able to flow through on your own path without. There was a teacher that I heard use the term efforting. So you don't need to be doing much efforting. You're just letting yourself flow like water through where you're not going to get hung up or caught up on this mess that you're aware of now. And what this is going to lead you to is a lot more comfort when things get choppy in the water. We have the waves rune, normally a very difficult rune in terms of this is where the water's gotten choppy, things are not clear, but you meditated with water for clarity. And so now, even if the water gets choppy, you have that memory, you have that connection, you know that whenever you're there, it's a good time to just bring yourself back to a crossroads moment where you're just sort of getting a feel of the relationships, getting a feel of the interconnections and the sort of the resonances that are happening. And you know that even if things get churned up and things don't seem clear, that the clarity is still there. And it's the things that are still there, and that you're just basically going to take the natural flow. If you get tumbled, you get a little bit tumbled, but you know that you're going to be taking the flow. You're not going to get yourself caught up in some of the mess that you're experiencing and that you're envisioning. So you are more confident moving forward, even if things get choppy by the end of this period. So you will have the tools you need to move forward, and you know that when things get choppy and emotionally upsurged, that you'll be able to still take that moment and get your clarity and move forward again. So that card number 4, people who chose the water related question, is your reading. So good luck with that, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time.